If you closely examine a miracle, you're likely to find that it's made of many parts, any of which, if missing, would make the whole thing impossible. Our next story begins with an unusual rescue, but that's not the miracle. The miracle is what happened because of this rescue. Without it, the people you're about to meet might not be alive today. On January 5th, 1995, the Windsor Fire Department in Ontario, Canada received an emergency distress call. Firefighters Evan Fournier and Doug Emery were part of the team that responded to the report of a child in jeopardy.
995 Bruce Avenue.
We got a call for a rescue of a baby that was trapped, and we proceeded to the address.
Upon arriving at the scene, they prepared themselves for the worst.
Yep, got him.
On that kind of call, you just think of all the possibilities that could happen for a case like that, and then you work backwards when you get there and see what you've got.
And what they saw was nothing like what they'd expected.
We found a child with his head stuck in a rocker.
These guys are here to help us.
The baby doesn't seem to be panicking too much, but it's just sitting there looking kind of funny with this rocker stuck around its head.
It was a bit comical just to see this picture.
We're going to help you get out of there. Okay?
But boys will be boys, I suppose. They'll get into all kinds of trouble.
You sit up with me, okay? Ready? Sit up.
I was more than curious as to how this all happened.
We were just at home having sort of a regular day. Nathaniel was playing, and I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and I just turned around and Nathaniel had his head stuck in the chair.
The mother tried everything to get her son's head unstuck from that chair and couldn't do it, and eventually called us.
There we go. Okay. All right. What are you doing?
While we were there, I noticed that her apartment had no smoke detectors, and so making note of that, I asked the mother if she had any.
No, we don't. We just rent here.
Oh, you know, you really should get some, you know? Even if you're renting, you know, the fire department hands them out.
We've had so many fires with children that died. It only takes just one thing to go wrong, and the mother and child could be in, trouble in a big hurry.
I didn't take it that seriously. I just thought, yeah, next time I'm at the store, I'll pick one up. I didn't feel the need to go out and get one right away.
A few months earlier, the Windsor Fire Department initiated a citywide program to provide residents with free smoke detectors. And the fact that Beth Sutton didn't have an alarm in her apartment continued to bother Doug Emery.
And he mentioned to me that it'd be a good idea to get one out there as soon as possible. That caused me to, instead of filing the report, I took it to my boss to show him.
Evan and Doug's boss was District Fire Chief Paul Holmes.
Chief, that call we just did at 995 Bruce Avenue, I think they could use a smoke alarm.
Did you ask him to come in and pick one up?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Job done.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I made a mental note to make sure that if she did not come in the next day and pick up a smoke detector, that the chief or someone from the station would go over and install that.
But something about the situation kept bothering him.
It was almost like there was a hand guiding me or pushing me or something like that. Sir, can I see that report on 995 Bruce? Firemen don't like to lose people. 2 days before that, another child had been lost on the east side of the city, and I believe that had a lot to do with this sense of urgency.
And so, he made an unusual decision.
Yes, Chief. What's up?
We're going out in a smoke detector. You got some in the car?
No, I got some in the closet.
Get some bears.
Okay.
Meet you downstairs.
Here, got some there. Okay.
Firefighter Dennis Leslie realized immediately that the chief's request was anything but ordinary.
It was very unusual. We usually let the fire prevention officers do it, and for us to go do it, it was strange. But Paul just wanted to put it in. He was driven. He wanted to put it in right there and then.
For the second time that day, the Windsor Fire Department was paying a visit to Beth Sutton's home.
Hello.
Hi, we're with the fire department, and we decided we'd like to install that smoke detector that the other fellows talked about. She says, well, I'm supposed to go get one tomorrow. But I don't know if force is the right word, but something that was there was telling me to do it, and there was no getting around it. It was going to be done.
They came in, put the smoke detector up in the hallway.
So we're going to give you 2 bears, not just 1 bear, but there's a bear on the back here too, okay?
Say thank you. I was actually really quite surprised that they would come to do that, because I didn't think they did that sort of thing.
When you guys hear that sound, pay attention, okay?
Yeah, okay. Okay. They left, and I hadn't really thought a whole lot about it. I was kind of, okay, whatever.
Later that night, at the station, the quiet was pierced by another emergency alarm.
995 Bruce Avenue, engine 118.
The number registered first, 995, then Bruce Avenue. I said to myself that we were just there.
I was feeling at that moment that there could be no better crew to investigate this fire than the same people who had been there hours earlier, and was hoping for the best, that when we arrived it would be a false alarm or it would be something very minor. And as it turned out, it wasn't minor at all. There was smoke coming from the apartment, and we knew who was in there. We knew the layout of the building.
As they entered the building, the smoke was so thick it was nearly impossible to see. Anyone inside would be asphyxiated within minutes. And every second they spent not locating Beth and her son could mean their certain death.
Bathroom's clean.
After the primary search, I felt that there probably wasn't anybody home. But there's still a space or a small room or a closet we could have missed. The mother and the young boy weren't there. They had gone across the street where she had called 911.
There you are.
Hi.
Oh, are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're all...
As soon as I saw Beth and Nathaniel, I was relieved. It was something that thrilled all of us to know that they were both safe. We couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah.
The smoke detector had definitely served its purpose earlier that evening.
I put Nathaniel to bed. Then I was into the kitchen and I was just making myself a little bite to eat, and I thought I had turned the stove off. I was asleep on the couch, and I don't know how long the fire would have been burning, but the smoke detector went off and it woke me up. I went into Nathaniel's room, and that was the first thing I thought about, was just grabbing Nathaniel and getting out of the apartment.
Even though years have passed, Beth and Nathaniel continue to visit the firefighters who, in a strange twist of fate, saved their lives.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Every time I see them, I just want to give them each a big hug. I'm so grateful.
And everyone is thankful for the incredible series of events that saved 2 lives that day. First, the freak accident that brought the fire department to 995 Bruce Avenue and alerted them to the fact that no fire alarms were in the house. And then, the strange feeling that Chief Holmes couldn't seem to shake.
We're going out in the smoke detector.
And that brought him back to Beth Sutton's home hours later.
It had to be a miracle. There'd be no doubt in my mind.
It's frightening to imagine what might have happened if all these events had not taken place.
There you are.
I really feel that something intervened here. It could have been a guardian angel for all I know.
Yeah, we're fine.
I'm just thankful that the firemen went with their gut feeling to come back and take the extra time to put the smoke detector in. And definitely, I thank God. I definitely believe that he had a hand in all of it.